Hot Take Hockey Podcast with your hosts, Lucas and John Viveiros.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hot Take Hockey Podcast. Myself, John, Lucas here, and an absolute legend bringing on IslesGirl3, Kim. Kim, thank you so much for coming on to this episode. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff all around the Metro Division. Just off the bat, Kim, how are you feeling about the new season and Islanders hockey being back?
With the Islanders hockey being back, I'm always happy. With this team, I'm always optimistic. I always, want the best for them. I always expect the best out of them. Some things are out of, your control as a fan, but you just want your team to do the best. So I'm always optimistic that they're going to be a playoff contender.
Obviously, they go back to back playing the Lightning in tight series. And then last year, I knew so many people that had them top two. I mean, I had them top three in the division, had them as a cup favorite or a playoff contender. Like, going into this year, do you like the fact that it's switched back to everyone overlooking the Islanders again?
Oh, I'm happy when people overlook the Islanders. I'd rather be the underdog team than have the expectations, because when you have the expectations, they're easily crushed. They're so easily crushed. And that's what happened last year, as we had these big expectations for this team. And when we didn't meet expectations, it was a crushing season for all fans. And that's not the type of season I want to come out of. I always want to come out as the underdog. And if we didn't do it, hey, we were the underdog anyway.
Yeah. Lucas, just based on what you think, Islanders, Rangers, Devils, all across the board right now, Penguins, Hurricanes, Caps, Blue Jackets, who else? Flyers. Man, a lot of people are just right off the Flyers. What a mess. But just based on all Metro, what is your kind of initial thoughts?
Yeah, we were talking about it before we jumped on here. And the Metro is always the division that is just a battle. It's a grind. There's so many teams in there that are battling for those playoff spots. And now you see, teams like New Jersey hopefully taking the next step. Columbus bringing in Johnny Hockey. And Philly's hoping to get back to their game, bringing in Tortorella. So the Metropolitan Division is a logjam, and it's going to be very interesting if anybody gets their predictions right on this division.
Oh no.
I just it's so tough to put them 1 through 8.
The trend I feel like I always see in the Metro is a couple things. One being the balanced lineups. I'm even looking at the Rangers last year in the playoffs, their third line of Hedel, Lafreniere, and Kakko. And I just look at the Islanders, whether it's Holmstrom, whether it's Wallstrom, there's a couple guys that we spread across the lineup. I feel like that's a big thing. I mean, even Pittsburgh in the playoffs, the HBK line, Hagelin, Bonino, Kessel. I just feel like sometimes spreading out the lineup. And I mean, the Islanders have that structure. I think that was why they were so successful in the playoffs, was they were able to match up. When you have a healthy Pajot on the third line, matching up against third line talent, that's going to work out for you well. Obviously, to a different degree, if you don't have your top players playing well, then things are just not going to go well. But in terms of matchup game, I feel like the Islanders have that. I think they've always had that. And so I think just to kind of structure the conversation more into overall Metro, do you feel like the Islanders have, so maybe not just Islanders, but you look at the Rangers, I would say right now, I would say the overall is Rangers, Hurricanes in the playoffs, then Capitals with their injury issues, no Backstrom, no Tom Wilson. So are they in there? But Pittsburgh keeping Raquel. If Jari plays well, they should be in there. So it's those three teams. Then who's jumping in? If the Metro has 2 wildcard spots, then it's is it between the Islanders, Caps? Could Blue Jackets be in there? Kim, I guess just on that conversation, who do you see in? Who do you see out? And obviously we could do predictions, all three of us. But I guess just in that kind of bubble area, what do you see happening?
Yeah, the Metro is so hard to pinpoint. Like you said, my top tier ones are definitely the Hurricanes, on top. The Hurricanes are just, and they're also an Islanders kryptonite. That team, for some reason, is always an Islanders kryptonite. They have been for years. Pisses me off. The high stick goal is still BS. And it's even with Kyle Palmieri's goal, it was how many, we were even joking before the season, we're how many goals will Kyle Palmieri be disallowed this year? Just stuff like that. But Carolina definitely on top. Rangers, have proven themselves. That kid line, I said before, I think with you, John, that once that kid line evolves and they become more, confident in their play, they were going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Boom. The Devils, to me, though, maybe a wild card chaser, but maybe not make playoffs at all.
Yeah, I see them as a team that's battling in March, but probably fades out near the end of March. I mean, I like what team they got going on right now. I think they're going to need another year or two of experience. Exactly. But I like the addition of an Eric Halla. I like Dougie Hamilton bouncing back this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jack Hughes, I'm such a Jack Hughes supporter, so
I think
he's
Hughes will
gonna
have a
tear it
big
up.
year. I was also going to say, I think their defense core is really underrated at this point. I know people have been raving about John Marino in training camp already, and like Siegenthaler's underrated. Ryan Graves is in a contract year, and like sometimes guys in contract years, Dougie Hamilton for a bounce back. So it's just like they have a few guys in the defense core. And back to that, like I would say that trend in the Metro Division, the Devils probably go into the season with 3 pretty intriguing lines. Like I feel like they just have underrated guys, like a Sharon Govich underrated, like could a Tatar bounce back, Andreas Janssen bounce back. Like they just, we'll see. I think they're an interesting team, but back to what you just said, Lucas. I feel like it does start with Jack Hughes and what he does.
And Palat as an addition. Like I think Palat's going to do a lot for either Hughes or Hischier, whoever he plays with. Like they got some good pieces. I don't buy it yet just because, like you said, it's very at the top. It's the Rangers and Hurricanes. And then I still would have teams like the Islanders, the Penguins, and the Capitals, I think once they're all healthy ahead of them. But yeah, I mean, even Columbus is a tough one to pinpoint if we want to shift there to a little bit. Like,
that's a tough one.
Right? They've added Johnny Hockey. I mean, you hope that.
Is that enough?
Is it enough? And is he going to be at that 115?
He's been there his whole career, and they've done nothing.
Yeah,
I know. But Gaudreau, sauced in a line now. I mean, hey, what's going to happen? Is Barzal going to be like sauced into Wallstrom more, or is Gaudreau going to be sauced in a line more this season? Because I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for Line to be with an elite playmaker like Johnny.
I mean, if you're talking about developed players and like, just history, you're going to say like Gaudreau and Line, like obviously. But who knows? That's the thing with the Islanders is like, will Wallstrom blossom? Like Dobson blossomed with us. We always have one player I've seen each year that just blossoms. We had like Pellick, and then we had Dobby, and I'm like wondering if maybe Wallstrom's that player that blossoms this year with us.
Yeah, not to say Wallstrom's going to be in that category for like higher tier goals, but yeah, I'm just looking at a few guys in the Metro, like whether it's Line or looking at a couple guys like Pittsburgh. I just think if they're all healthy, like keeping Raquel, I'm just high on Pittsburgh because I feel like they're always a good season team. They have Raquel now, and I feel like that top 6 is pretty solid. I mean, the top 6 has always been solidified, but between Gensel, if Malkin's healthy, if Crosby stays healthy, like they could have 3 potential like 35, 40 goal scorers in Pittsburgh. Like, as I just said, Line there. I feel like, again, maybe this is a hot take, but I feel like Jack Hughes could easily put 80 plus points on the board this year. And I don't think anyone would bat an eye. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jack Hughes put 90. Like,
I don't think he's going to hit it, but I'm not as big on Jack Hughes, but I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up like a great amount of points. Like
if he doesn't stay healthy, which, the last few seasons, it's been a little on and off with that. It's tougher for him to hit those 80, 90 point thresholds and keep the Devils in the chase. So that's interesting. I also want to touch on all the goaltenders, like, a quick goalie talk in the Metro. And I mean, we'll start with the Islanders, and I love the Islanders goaltending as usual every season with these 2 dependable goalies they have. And how do you see it splitting out? Because Varlamov is obviously a free agent at the end of the year. So, how many starts does he really get in this split? And
to add to that question, could this be the year Sorokin solidifies himself as like a top 6, top 7 goalie, like really up there in the league?
That's what was pissing me off the most at the end of the season. Just because the Islanders didn't make playoffs, Sorokin, I feel like, did not get the recognition he deserved. He honestly, bullshit, he got save of the year. To me, he was save of the year. That like backwards roll, save with the one arm on the Rangers. Like, I don't know, you couldn't beat that to me. I mean, there was absolutely like more beautiful, like Subban with the behind the back save, but like seriously, I don't know. But to me, he really did not get the recognition he deserved. Even when you're like looking at something as stupid as like NHL rankings, I think they rated him like 88 or something like that. I'm like,
out of all players,
yeah, out of like of goaltending,
yeah.
And like they rated him even like they underrated Demko too.
Oh,
like,
NHL 23.
Yeah, in 23.
Yeah, in the game. Okay.
Underrated like Demko, but then I'm seeing like things like Rangers went far and they deserve the recognition for that. But everyone's saying oh, it's just Shesterkin.
Yeah.
I really think people are undervaluing Sorokin, and when they go head to head, like that's going to be fun.
So you think Sorokin, like this year, people are at least going to realize that he's not too far behind Shesterkin. Like he's right there.
I think people realize he's a fantastic goalie, but I don't think they realize how much of a fantastic goalie he is. Yeah, how brilliant he is, and also he's creating. We had Romanov brought in. they hit it off. They're like the best of friends, and that's great to have some chemistry between your goaltender and your defense. Communication wise, I think that just like more solidified our back end as well.
Especially for a young player, young goalie. Yeah, sorry, John, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say. So yeah, let's rank the goaltending in the Metro. So I would say, I mean, this is just my opinion here. I would probably go Shesterkin at 1. I would say, I mean, Sorokin's probably 2. I think the only thing I'll say is like based on how Freddie played last year, if he plays like that this year and can stay healthy, then I mean Freddie Anderson's probably a top 3 or top 4. Like Lucas, do you see anyone else probably in that consideration for top 3 in the Metro?
I mean, my top 5, I'll just wrap through my top 5 real quick. I got Shesterkin, Sorokin, Freddie Anderson. I got Elvis Merzlikins.
Oh, hot take.
And number 5, even hotter take. He's just on a really bad team, guys. Be nice to him. It's Carter Hart as my number 5. I feel like he's just on a bad team.
This Tristan Jarry disrespect.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I'll say this. Jarry went from like the most criticized goalie I've ever seen in my life to like last year he had an unreal year.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say like that's like, well, look what Jarry did against the Islanders. Like that was that's a hiccup to say the least. But yeah, I mean, I think like it's so hard because if you look at even like Kemper, like he just won a cup and now he's the number 1 guy by far with the Capitals. Like if Kemper repeats that, then like I think we need to give him more respect too. I feel like the only goalie, like huge question mark, like in terms of what are we going to see is the Devils. Like, I mean, Blackwood and Vanacek. I don't know what to expect there. I feel like all across the board, like every other team in the Metro, there's a guy there that it's like, okay, he's probably going to take the reins. Blackwood and Vanacek. I feel like there's a lot of people throwing out hot takes that Vanacek might be the guy there, but I don't know if I fully believe that. I feel like Blackwood might be bouncing back, but Cam, just based on the goalies we threw out there, do you feel like it's a Shesterkin, Sorokin 1, 2, and then how would you kind of see it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like that's solidified. Like Shesterkin.
That's a 1 tier right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like shocked that none of you had Varlamov in your top 5. I'm gonna be honest. I might be super biased. I am super biased. What am I talking about?
Yeah, but Kim, we have to think about it. I think Varlamov had his like inconsistencies too. I feel like Varlamov's ceiling sometimes he shows really well, but then like there'll be a stretch of games it's like I've seen Islanders fans all on my timeline going, get Sorokin back in the net, get Sorokin back in the net right away.
I hated those tweets because most of the time they were not even Varlamov's fault. I'm gonna be honest, just critically watching. I don't know, just personally, I feel like it was just days where, we didn't have Sorokin in net, and for some reason the team didn't play as well in front of Varlamov. I think that's why people were yelling Sorokin in net, because we had a different team chemistry when we had Sorokin in net. I think that's something to watch this time is if we have, Varlamov in net or Sorokin, will the team chemistry kind of shift? I don't know. They seem to play better in front of Sorokin. I don't know if that's just like they felt more, at ease with him in net. I don't know. But that was something where that's why a lot of fans were saying, like, put him back in net, because we played better with Sorokin. But you can't just have him play every single game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I think that's why I think Lou wanted to, even though I don't necessarily agree with a lot of Lou's activities this offseason, but I think in terms of a tandem, you don't want a guy ripping 60 plus games in a season where you hope to make the playoffs. So I know we got to get Kimmy back to her Isles hockey suit here. So let's rip through the 3 of us. Let's rip through our ranks, or at least like a rough prediction. Yeah. Kim, if you want to lead off,
Kim, kick it off.
If you want to kick it off, Lucas and I can go first if you want. It's totally up to you. You're the guest.
To me because I was like looking through here and I keep shifting with my teams. I keep going like up, down with this. Hurricanes number 1 for me. I mean, just solid team in general, great goaltending. I think they're going to solidify at number 1 again. I wouldn't be surprised. Number 2, I could see Rangers. I could see Rangers doing well again. I mean, the team is, I got to give props where props are due. And I think the Rangers are a team that showed in the playoffs. They are a team that can, come and solidify that, they're a fantastic team, that kid line. We may see more from them this year. I hope they, they do break out a little bit more and show that what they have. But for number 3, this is where I juggle. This is where I juggle between like Caps, Penguins, and Blue Jackets, because Blue Jackets may come out and surprise everybody. Who knows? Maybe the Goudreau is what it's supposed to be. Maybe Blue Jackets come out of nowhere, come in number 3. I think this is where maybe Blue Jackets come back and show, hey, we're a playoff team.
A spicy take.
So are you
Yeah.
putting Jackets at
Love
3?
it.
I'm putting Jackets at 3.
Wow,
Nice.
I love it. This is hot take hockey. We love
A
it.
hot take. I'm putting it a hot take. Jackets surprise everyone. They come in number 3 now because they have that new momentum.
So you have Penguins Capitals ahead of the Isles?
Penguins Capitals. This is where I'm gonna surprise. So this is where, like, I'd say wild card battle. Maybe with healthy Capitals, Islanders.
Wow, you have Penguins out?
I have
Wow.
I don't know. Penguins, I feel like are just, they're getting I still don't have that faith in Jari. I know we were saying that Jari came out and kind of surprised, but I still don't have 100% faith in him. And I feel like goaltending is just so important. I mean, Crosby, Malkin, everyone like on the Penguins. But I don't know I don't know. I just a hot take. If the Islanders can do what they do and these guys show up to the plate, again, this is so many variables.
So to make assumption, I guess you have Devils Flyers to finish that out? Because I saw
Flyers,
when Lucas was saying, oh, well, the Flyers turned around with Tortorella. I saw Kim like,
No.
chance.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I was just trying to give props to the Flyers fans. Sorry, it's not gonna happen.
You know what, props, but I think Flyers fans are expecting the worst out of the season. I
Yeah.
mean, Ports definitely is the guy to whip him into shape. I mean, you saw the training camp photo.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Lucas, based on the hot takes, Kim just threw hot takes left and right.
Oh,
What are your adjustment on those predictions or your own thoughts?
I got Rangers 1.
Okay.
And which is spicy for me because I was very down on the Rangers last year. I'll come out and say it. I was downplaying the Rangers. I underestimated them. I got them at number 1 this time. They've convinced me. I got Carolina at 2. I have Pittsburgh at 3.
Okay.
And it's not about Jari. For me, it's about, this is almost, I feel like too many people say this, but we're almost at a last dance with the Penguins. They've brought their guys back, Malkin and Letang, and I think they're motivated to really go for it before it's too late. So
I'm expecting a Malkin bounce back this year for the record, but yeah, keep going. Yeah.
I got after Pittsburgh at 3. I have the Islanders at 4.
Okay.
Kind of shocked.
All right. I got we're getting spicy now. I got Columbus at 5.
Oh,
and I got the Caps at 6.
Wow.
And then I don't even know if I'm confident with that. Like Caps at 6.
Yeah,
I think
know.
I think
I feel about the Penguins. That's exactly how I feel about the Penguins.
No, but I think the Caps could even be looking at 7 just because I have New Jersey still like coming up. I mean,
well, I don't blame you. I mean, there's so many question marks with the Caps because of the injuries. Like no Wilson, no Backstrom, and then they have like they're expecting a lot from Dylan Strome right off the bat.
As of September, I'll put the Caps at 6, Devils at 7, Flyers 8. So my real spicy take, I guess, is Columbus being in that wild card mix at 5 and the Islanders getting a wild card spot at 4.
I'll say this right now. I think if you swapped, and this is no shot against the Islanders, Kim, but I'm just saying this because I actually have faith in Sorokin in a big way. I think if you swap the goaltending duos with the Islanders and Devils, I usually have the Devils in the playoffs 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, I just think the question marks I have around the goaltending of the Devils, I'm just like, Blackwood's shown signs, but I can't be like Vanacek and Blackwood and have the Devils in like the 3 spot. And hey, maybe you're watching this and the Devils make the playoffs. I just can't say it at this point. But just any other thoughts? We're about to be done here, and Kim's got to get back to that Isles game. But Kim, any last thoughts on the Metro or Islanders? Quick.
Just, I know I'm gonna be wrong. I think everyone's gonna be wrong at the end
We're
of
always,
the season.
everyone's wrong, always.
This Metro never acts up the way anyone predicts. Sorry for my outrageous hot takes, but
I love them.
Love
switch
it.
it up a bit because who knows? Maybe that actually happens. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, just to close it out,
Still legend.
hey, there you go.
And this legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
But thank you, Kim. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Okay, so it cut off there at the end with our meeting with IslesGirl. But again, a big shout to IslesGirl. If you guys didn't catch it at the end, make sure you go subscribe IslesGirl3, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitter. Lucas, any last kind of thoughts on the Metro? I know we were kind of talking like maybe a little bit more Isles there, but Kimmy was on, so we had to talk Isles. But just overall, I mean, I know we've talked Metro on some other episodes, but do you have any kind of final thoughts on the division?
Yeah, the Metro, as always, it's an interesting one. I think even though I'm a little bit down on the Caps this year, Ovi's still going to hit his 40 plus goals and he's going to chase down that record. I still am confident in that. And yeah, I just think overall, when I was doing my goalie rankings there with IslesGirl as well, people got to be a little bit more kind to Carter Hart because he's in a tough spot. And I think that he can, it's not that he's going to rebound because he's on a brutal team, but once the Flyers get going, if they still hold on to him, he could be that guy for them. But yeah, I mean, the Metro is just such a fun division. It's so unpredictable. Every year, it's so hard to pick. Like IslesGirl said, I mean, all of our picks are probably going to be dead wrong, but it's fun to make them. Hockey's almost here. We're only a few weeks away, and the season's ready to go.
Okay, can I throw out a possibility? Is there a chance with like Tortorella and the teams that he's coached, and like he is like notorious for like coaching like fringe teams, like teams that either just squeak into the playoffs or like 80-point teams? Is there a possibility that the Flyers are not nearly as bad as everyone will think? Like I'm just thinking they're deep up front. Their defense is not great, but they're deep up front. And if Couturier does come back in a few weeks versus what was being initially reported, and as we said, if we're nicer to Carter Hart and he has a bounce back year, like, are they as bad potentially? I'm just saying, I feel like everyone is like the Flyers, including myself. I'm not saying I'm not, but like everyone's just like Flyers default to the bottom or one of the bottom teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, I see their improvement more coming in points, maybe not positioning. Maybe they still are bottom, but like I said, I mean, I see the Eastern Conference getting, squished more. And so I see the Flyers, I think they finished around 60 points last year. Maybe they get to 70. I mean, maybe that's positive for them, right? I mean, an extra 5 wins or so. But there is a chance of that because Tortorella's done that with Columbus. He made them relevant and interesting, even with a team that was okay. I mean, they overperformed for the players they had in a couple seasons. And I think Tortorella is good at getting the most and squeezing the most out of what he's got.
And I feel like there's a lot of Tortorella type players in the Flyers right now.
Atkinson, Konechny. Like I think he can get some good production out of Kevin Hayes again, hopefully. Yeah. Like Scott Lawton's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, Lawton's a little feisty too. Like there's just some guys.
Owen Tippett.
Owen Tippett will be a favorite for Tortorella. Wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of Torts players there, like style guys.
So that's why I'm saying you never know. You never know. But, the only other thing I'll say about the Metro, and I feel like we kind of alluded to it on the chat, is like I feel like the last couple of years, especially like after the Devils brought in Dougie Hamilton and like started drafting guys and Jack Hughes, is like everyone's been waiting for the Devils to do this, and everyone's been waiting for the Penguins and Capitals to do this. Yeah. So I feel like that's the one question mark, and the one trend is like, when is that team going to do this, and when are those older cores going to do that?
And the year that happens, we're not going to see it coming. It's just going to happen. So I personally right now would have my bets on it not happening yet this year, but I think it's bound to happen eventually. And within the next couple within the next couple of seasons, it's going to be interesting to see Pittsburgh and Washington.
And it's going to be a full big time shift because I mean, again, Pittsburgh. Yes, they've brought in some guys that are going to be there for a bit, like Raquel and Letang signed, but it's just like when Crosby and Malkin are gone, that team's going to suffer.
Oh yeah, big time.
But yeah, I mean, good Metro talk. If for anyone watching the pod or listening, definitely drop comments if there's something we didn't touch on or certain teams. I feel like we're going to talk about it a lot more, whether it's through like a fantasy episode or different things that will drop. We'll discuss the Metro in a lot of different ways. It was good to get Kim on as a guest. And any last thoughts, Lucas, on the Metro?
I'm so excited just in general to talk games and talk action and hockey once it starts. And, we've been making all these different pods with great guests and predicting and forecasting what's going to happen. But it's going to be great once it's the products in front of us and we're really, consuming it night in, night out and seeing what happens around the league. So I'm hyped.
Yeah, I'm amped too. So from Lucas and myself, thank you so much for watching Hot Take Hockey Podcast. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the notification bell, drop your comments down below, and reach out to us on social media. Hope to see you on the next podcast, video, or live stream. We'll chat soon, guys. Have a good one.
Peace
out.